Hello, hello, beautiful people. It's Wonderbox Challenge number 3. I have my goodies, foam stamps, stencils, and buttons are the required items. And I've also selected a few other goodies that I think I might want to incorporate into this particular layout. So I've hauled out all of my foam stamps that I still have, and we will see what happens. Also some stencils that I think might be fun to use on this particular spread. So I have a lot of photographs. My family and I, Memorial Day weekend, went to South Carolina, just outside of Charleston, for a dear friend's getaway wedding. Beautiful, beautiful 3 days. We had the chance to visit the beach, and so a friend took this photo of the 4 of us standing right there on the water's edge. But before we went out of town, my hubby and I started our juice/smoothie feast. We do this a couple times a year, and I thought we'd start right before we went away to South Carolina. So I took a few pictures of my yummy green juice and my hubby's ingredients before he made his green smoothie. So with the images selected, I am going to pull out a few of the white Project Life cards to serve as the background. I have some extra photographs I could have used. In fact, I have tons, hundreds perhaps, but I decided not to use them. So after playing around with a few of my very old foam stamps, I discover that most of them have a lot of black ink on them or paint, and I was unable to get a clear, crisp image with the yellow paint I wanted to use on this spread. So I pulled out some old Thickers foam letters, and I used them as my foam stamp. Way to interpret the challenge, huh? Yeah. So using a little foam applicator, I apply the yellow acrylic paint. It's a heavy yellow acrylic paint, and I get, I think, a really nice impression from the foam letters, and I really like the font as well. Okay, so now I'm playing a bit, and I really didn't have a clear direction, but I had the yellow paint out, and I just wanted to see what would happen. And so I've punched a few different shapes of circles, and I'm going to use the circle punches as a mask on this 3x4 card. So playing around and positioning them, and then using my little yellow makeup applicator sponge. I just kind of hold the circles in place. I don't adhere them down. And again, use them as a mask. So I like the way that turned out, but I wasn't done yet because I still needed to incorporate a stencil. So I pull out the stencil and also my gelatos, and I add just a touch of the yellow acrylic paint to the orange gelatos. The orange was a bit too bold for what I wanted. And so once I've mixed it, then I again use my applicator and just lightly dab the orange over the stencil. And so I end up with a very interesting 3x4 card. So I quickly dry it and put it aside. You see my desk is a mess. I totally need to clean it. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this photograph of our family down. It was a perfect day at the beach. I mean, like 85 with a light breeze. Unbelievable. So next up, I recently picked up this tape. It's Little Bees tape. So pretty and sparkly. I just had to put it in my basket. And although it doesn't really, I think, go with the yellow and orange, I was determined to use it because it was pretty. So let me know if you've ever done that. So anyway, I am incorporating this silver and teal tape into the spread. So I've got lots of things going on. So because I'm using the tape, I opt to also pull out this silver card. And I cut out all of the printables from the Lily Pad collection. It's the Lily Pad Viewpoint collection I recently downloaded. I also step away and complete my journaling. And I do that on a 8.5 by 11 cardstock, print it out, and then I clip it down to the size that I need. And the font for that was literally like 9.5 or 10 because I had a lot of journaling to squeeze into that 3x4 card. This is a rare image of my hubby holding my camera, and so I caught him doing so and wanted to get that. And I used my iPhone. So not really doing much with that. That little statement was also included in the Lily Pad Viewpoint printable collection. And so I just kind of cut that out and I'm using it. Okay, so I really like this card with the stenciling. However, it's really, really bright and bold. And I decided to use some vellum to slightly mute the boldness of the yellow and orange. And last week, I used half of this rub-on. It's an old Jenny Bolin butterfly rub-on. And because it was sitting on my ever so cluttered desk, I decided to use the other half on week 21. So it takes a bit of rubbing, but finally I get most of the rub-on adhered to the vellum. So I prefer that kind of muted look. And so just looking for some clear stickers. I think those are the Amy Tangerine collection. I've used a couple of times now, and I'm trying to see if I can find something to give just a bit of dimension to this. I'll call it the butterfly card. So I pull out the wood veneer, surprise, surprise there. Yeah. But the wood veneer just really, particularly those large pieces, I don't think they work. I end up going with a very small wood veneer heart to add, again, just a bit of dimension, but I didn't want to add too much wood veneer to this particular spread. I felt like there was a lot going on already. So I want to determine what I'm going to do with this lemon card. Love the bright and bold freshness of that lemon, but I'm not sure how I want to embellish it yet. So I pull out some old chipboard alphabet. That chipboard alphabet that I'm using is Heidi Swapp, like old Heidi Swapp chipboard alphabet. And I decided to go ahead and use that. It doesn't really have a sheen. It's kind of bare, naked, if you will, waiting for someone to apply paint or ink or something to it. I'm not going to apply anything to it. I think the pale gray works nicely with the silver on the spread. The challenge for me at this point is really to squeeze the letters onto the 4x6 photograph. And so once I feel like I'm going to be able to do that, I'm going to go ahead and stick them down to the photograph. Over the last few weeks, I have been using my photographs as my title card. I think I'll continue to do this because this works well given the 6x12 format that I am now using. And that J, I mean, literally just barely squeezes on. And in fact, I have to trim off just a bit of that hook. Okay, so since I was just so freaking determined to use that washi tape, I now need to embellish the little 3x4 card. So I have the silver tag, and I also am going to use a cutout from the Lily Pad printable collection, trying to see if I want to use any other items, but can't find anything that I think works. I add a little bit of dimensional tape to the back. Lately, I've been feeling like dimensional tape to add a bit of a pop. I will say my albums are chunky, so much so that my 2015 album, my first one is now full. I got week 1 through week 20 into my first 2015 album. This layout, week 21, will go into album number 2 for 2015. Buttons. That was the third and final element that I needed to include on this layout. So I found deep in my button stash some light pale blue buttons, almost clear. And so I thought that they would work nicely on this little card. So next up, I am cutting out the SC, South Carolina foam, homemade foam stamped letters. So I need to cut the white out from that S, and I can't find a better pad, so I use my trimmer. Don't do this, children. I'm sure that is the worst thing to do to your trimmer, but hey, it's the first thing I put my hands on. Okay, so trying to figure out placement for that SC. I add one little yellow pop dot or enamel dot, and then a bit of glue behind the SC, and then just trim that C just a tad. Okay, so initially I had this black and white rad circle on the photograph with my eldest, but decided bringing that orange down works nicely given that there's orange from the carrot juice in the title card. Trying to see if I want a doily. Nope, a doily is just too much. This layout is busy enough as it is. Do I want to add a printable cutout? Nope, don't want to do that either. So I have these little tags that I picked up with the little foil or silver around the edge. And I really like using that number 4 cutout, again from Lily Pad, inside of the little silver tag. However, or circle tag, I couldn't figure out how to use the 4 and make that work. So I decided to use the number 1, which was also in that printable collection, and place that with the photograph, and he's my eldest, so I can go with the number 1. Another element in the printable was this little heart, and it said glass half full or empty, and I thought that that might work. You've seen me use this technique before, simply using my tape, and this time I created a lattice, and I really like the way it turned out. And then I have this hello. It's from the My Mind's Eye Alpha's Numbers, and I thought the silver would work nicely. They also have this collection in a nice white and black as well. And then I pull out my authentic yellow little word stickers. I've had them for some time, but I thought again that yellow just added an extra pop and would bring this very interesting layout together. And I pull some other old chipboard alphabet. Let's see, that alphabet, I'm not sure where it's from or who made it. Again, it's a little bit old, but it worked well, I think, because it's a pale gray. So this layout is almost done. I will tell you, my friends, this was the hardest yet. I mean, really. And I do not put the week number on this spread. I tried it with the little yellow letter stickers, but I just didn't want to add anything else. I felt like this spread was done, D-O-N-E, done. So if you are ready for a challenge, take on Wonderbox number 3. I really enjoy stretching my muscles. And look, I did not use any Tim Holtz. So it was a blast. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!